I mean, one of the things we've been talking about is DOC's budget and whether the department is kind of right-sized in terms of the quantum that it gets. And I think there's a sort of a groundswell of realisation that if the department has kind of got its act together after the restructuring and is fit for purpose, if you like, could it, in your view, handle more money? Because some organisations, you'd throw money at them and they wouldn't be able to do it because they're not sufficiently well organised or efficient.
Oh, they'd probably extend their organisation extensively without necessarily achieving their goals. It's a good question. It's a fair one. I think that I can't think of a government department anywhere in the world that would actually turn down more money. And believe me, at budget round time, I'm in there bidding fiercely, and the 11.2 million I got for Kiwis this year is one part of that. And next year it's Wildings, and there are a number of other things that we are doing actively to encourage our Minister of Finance to put more money into us. But as Chris Rose said, it isn't necessarily about applying more money directly into funds from DOC. What we've been doing is, as I indicated, collaborating with partners, getting a whole of government approach so that we can dip into other people's budgets in a way that works well for both organisations. Department of Health and DOC would not necessarily be likely partners in shared projects and visions, but they are, and it's working very well around the world, and it will work well here. I think that when you look at what's happening with regards to that across-government thing with tourism and the other partnerships, we're working smarter around that side of things than we have in the past. I think the restructuring and the idea that somehow DOC is in palliative care does need to be dispersed. It is a myth. It is not true. I think that Lou Sanson is a fantastic, inspirational and charismatic leader. DOC is in his DNA. He started as a field worker when the department began. He is somebody, and Gary, you and I have had this conversation at the book launch of Marie's book when I launched that a couple of months ago, that the Department of Conservation is in good heart. The pilot study, which Kay was involved with, or the pilot itself, in the upper part of the South Island, has worked terrifically well. I think you'll find if you talk to DOC workers, they now have a sense of optimism about the future. They feel that the people in charge of the organisation understand what the organisation is for and that they're working very well together. I don't think I've ever seen them in better heart, and I've worked on and off with DOC for the past 30 years in various incarnations in my previous lives. So I'm feeling that the reports of doom and gloom around DOC are overstated and probably ought to be nipped in the bud, and that it would be quite useful if people were supportive of the work that DOC does. It's all very well to sort of snipe at them from the sidelines and continue the old chorus of disapproval that they're not doing what they ought to do and that they're somehow starved and incapable. I absolutely refute that, and I would urge those of you who do relate to DOC in the work that you do to keep a better and open mind on that and really try and work together, all of us, rather than sniping. Together we can do fantastic things, and I think DOC is in a really robust shape and a great organisation for dealing with the challenges.
I certainly agree with you about Lou Sanson. I think a breath of fresh air in the
and the senior management team, you know, Kay and the others.
Oh, sure.
They're very good.
But let me just nail you on this if I can. If we go to the PM, as the NGOs do every 6 months, next month, which we're planning to do, and we say we want to see a conservation increment for DOC, you know, the country's was heading into fiscal surplus. There's a lot of money going into the development side, irrigation and so on. Will you as Minister, if we advocate that, say to the Prime Minister that yes, you know, I think DOC is ready for this increment, and I would support what they're saying.
Of course.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd be mad if I didn't. Who would turn down extra funding? May the force be with you, Gary.
Okay.
And I'll go and talk to the Prime Minister afterwards. Thanks, everybody.
Very good. Thanks, Maggie. That's great.